We really have the ability to pursue both short-term and long-term goals. That's a very uniquely human thing. And sort of planning and pursuing goals, it uses our logical brain, right? So it uses the sort of prefrontal cortex, so that part of our brain that is logical and reasoning. Usually when we think of thinking or the mind, we're thinking of that prefrontal cortex. And we're very familiar with this part of our brain. Well, this is the part of our brain that loves making goals, right? Loves creating goals and setting goals. So then that's great. But then what happens when we struggle to achieve those goals? Well, we're also wired for safety and survival. So in the event of a threat, this is the part of our biology that takes over. And guess what? Your survival system, that the lower part of your brain and all your nervous system, it's actually bigger and more powerful than your logical brain. If your logical brain and your survival system are going to get into an argument, your survival system will always, always win. So we have this beautiful part of us that's all excited about achieving goals. And then we have this other part of us that's wired for safety and survival. And your nervous system, which is the part that contains sort of the lower branches of our brain, it also contains all of our nerves, our spine. Your nervous system really operates automatically and unconsciously to protect you, right? This is a very important system. We never want to work around our nervous system, work around our biology, control our biology. We want it in working function, but it will hijack our system when we perceive a threat. And whether that threat is real or imagined, it will hijack our system. So I want to talk about this survival system for a minute, because this is why I believe in all my experience in working with people, they struggle to achieve their goals. It's like the part of their brain when they're in that prefrontal cortex is like, yes, this goal seems so good. I'm really excited about pursuing it. But in the part of the body that pursues, right, in the part of the body that acts, we hit these survival systems, and that pulls us back from our goals, right? And this is really kind of that push and pull of goal achievement. And so the brain and the nervous system really has one primary job. This is something that is completely wired into us. Our biology is designed to help us survive. And it is so strong and powerful and amazing because it automatically detects changes inside our body or within our environment. It sends these messages to the brain. It determines threats automatically and unconsciously so that we can act immediately without thought. And it overrides our logical mind. So the system runs all of these kind of beautiful automated systems we have, right? It runs our heart rate, it runs our blood pressure, our breathing, our digestion. Can you imagine if you had to consciously think of how to run your heart, right? Or how to run your blood pressure, or how to do the millions of little functions that happen inside your body? This is a really beautiful part of our biology. But it's also responsible for our survival responses, right? So fight, flee, freeze, appease, and dissociate. Those are kind of the five main survival responses. And it automatically creates that for us so that we can survive. And it's very, very powerful. And so our biology has this built-in system for detecting threats, which is really great. And what ensures survival is predictable patterns, certainty, habit, status quo, optimal functioning, and anything that reduces effort and conserves energy. And what threatens survival in this biology that we're all wired with is unpredictability and uncertainty and new habits and behaviors, going against status quo, suboptimal functioning, and anything that increases efforts or exhausts energy. And guess what? When we're pursuing goals, we're dealing with all of the things that naturally threaten our biology, right? That our brain is wired to perceive as a threat. I mean, going after a goal that you don't have is unpredictable, right? It's uncertain, right? Especially if we've never created what we really want. And this is why sometimes when you have more short-term goals or goals that are realistic or goals that are something you've maybe done before, they're easier to create because they're in alignment with our biology. But if we want to go for the big goals, if we want to go for the exciting goals, if we want to go for the things that we've never experienced before, well, this is very challenging to our biology. And so, goals are more easily achieved when they're in the direction of safety, when they don't threaten survival, perceived or real, when they're not too overwhelming, when they aren't uncomfortable, right? When they don't threaten our identity, when they work with current habits and behaviors. But goals are a lot harder to achieve when the goal feels unsafe. Now, when we're creating goals, remember, we're in our prefrontal cortex. And so oftentimes that feels pretty safe, right? Like we're imagining and we're creating and we're exciting, that feels safe. But when we start to pursue a goal, when we have to change a behavior, when we have to go against a habit, when we have to set a boundary, when we have to, maybe make someone unhappy with us because of the goal that we're choosing, right? Then the goal feels unsafe. It threatens our survival. It feels too overwhelming. It's uncomfortable. It threatens our identity. It requires new habits and behaviors. And even when we feel unsafe or stressed out in another area of our life, right? And so our body and biology is perceiving a threat, even in another area, that will make goal pursuit more challenging. And